Marcus Grant stepped onto the campus of Northwood High on a crisp morning, immediately struck by its immaculate halls and orderly corridors, a far cry from the vibrant chaos of his former school in Birmingham, Alabama. Every gleaming surface and every polished window whispered of a place where perfection masked unspoken rules and hidden rivalries. Almost as soon as he arrived, Marcus sensed that not everyone was eager to welcome a change. A confident senior named Logan Pierce, known for his charm that barely concealed a habit of belittling newcomers, made his disdain clear with subtle jabs and cold stares. His quiet mockery was designed to assert dominance, but it underestimated Marcus's inner resolve and the years of disciplined training he carried within him. Remembering his father's words, that true strength comes from self-control rather than brute force, Marcus held his head high. The moment would come when his calm, measured response would speak louder than any insult. And indeed, what unfolded in the cafeteria that day would send ripples through Northwood High, challenging old hierarchies and redefining respect. Welcome to Acts of Kindness Stories, where every tale reveals the power of courage, the importance of standing up for yourself with dignity, and the lesson that respect must be earned through strength of character. Marcus Grant's first few days at Northwood High had been a study in contrasts. The school's pristine corridors, with their shining floors and perfectly aligned lockers, exuded an air of controlled perfection. Yet beneath that polished surface, unspoken hierarchies dictated every glance and whispered comment. Marcus quickly sensed that his arrival disrupted the expected order. Every sideways look, every hushed murmur as he passed by, spoke of curiosity mixed with quiet judgment. He knew from experience that blending in wasn't an option when you carried a presence that set you apart. In his previous life back in Birmingham, Marcus had grown up surrounded by the raw energy of a community that embraced diversity and resilience. At Northwood, however, the environment was different, clean, controlled, and rigidly structured. It wasn't long before a familiar pattern began to emerge. Logan Pierce, a senior with a flawless exterior and a reputation for demeaning those who didn't fit his narrow definition of cool, made his intentions clear with a single, dismissive smirk. Logan was a figure of authority among his peers, his confident stance and carefully groomed appearance lending weight to his every word. Even though his barbs were subtle, a slight shove here, an offhand remark there, they carried a sting designed to remind Marcus that he was an outsider in this carefully balanced ecosystem. For days, Marcus endured these small acts of antagonism with a measured calm. His daily routine became a quiet exercise in resilience. Whether it was a calculated shoulder bump in the hallway or the deliberate misplacement of an item from his locker, every encounter tested his resolve. Marcus had been raised to believe that strength wasn't about reacting with anger. It was about exercising control. His father's words echoed in his mind. True power lies in knowing when to stand your ground and when to let things slide. And so, despite the increasing tension, Marcus responded with silence, a calm refusal to give the bullies the reaction they craved. As the days passed, the undercurrent of hostility grew more palpable. In classrooms and hallways, the whispers never ceased. Students traded knowing looks, as if silently rating Marcus's every move. Even the teachers, though polite and seemingly unaware, couldn't completely shield him from the ripple effects of the social power plays unfolding around him. Logan's group made sure their presence was felt, and every slight misstep on Marcus's part was catalogued and echoed back to him in the form of derisive laughter or condescending comments. Yet Marcus persisted, focusing on his studies and his training, a discipline that had honed not just his physical abilities, but his mental fortitude as well. Then came the day that shifted everything, a Friday lunch period that would redefine the fragile balance at Northwood High. Marcus had chosen a quiet corner of the cafeteria, determined to enjoy his meal in peace. The atmosphere was thick with the usual hum of low conversations and the clatter of trays, until a sudden interruption shattered the calm. Logan Pierce, flanked by two of his cronies, made his way toward Marcus's table. His presence was unmistakable. The entire cafeteria seemed to instinctively quiet down, as if aware that something significant was about to occur. Logan's tone was casual yet laced with venom. "Marcus, I've been wondering why you never speak up," he called out loudly enough for everyone to hear. His voice carried a blend of mock curiosity and concealed malice. The comment wasn't just a question, it was a challenge, an invitation for Marcus to prove his supposed weakness. Without waiting for a response, Logan snatched a piece of fruit from Marcus's tray and flung it across the room. The apple's dull thud against the floor was more than just a minor act of vandalism. It was a symbol of contempt, a public declaration that Marcus was an easy target. For a long, heavy moment, Marcus simply sat, his mind racing as he calculated his next move. The weight of every insult, every slight, converged into a quiet storm inside him. His hands clenched beneath the table, not out of uncontrolled anger, but in a controlled readiness, a physical manifestation of the discipline he had been taught since childhood. Logan's taunting smile only widened, misinterpreting Marcus's silence for submission or fear. The bully's confidence was unshaken as he stepped closer, his voice rising in a false challenge. "What are you going to do, Marcus? Act like you're tough." In that split second, something shifted. Marcus's calm determination transformed into precise, deliberate action. Without a single shout or flurry of wild movements, he pivoted smoothly, channeling years of martial arts training into one decisive motion. His left hand locked onto Logan's wrist in a grip that was as firm as it was swift, while his right arm followed in an effortless arc that left Logan momentarily suspended. His momentum turned against him. In a breathtaking display of control, Logan found himself tumbling backward onto the cold cafeteria floor, his shock evident in the way he crumpled among the scattered trays and stunned silence. The entire room froze in that moment. The typical buzz of conversation halted abruptly, replaced by an overwhelming hush that spoke volumes. Students who had once whispered and laughed now stared in awe and uncertainty. Even the cafeteria staff, who had been busily attending to their tasks, paused as if caught in the grip of an unforeseen spectacle. Marcus, however, did not linger on the act of retribution. He immediately knelt beside Logan, his voice calm but unmistakably firm as he delivered a quiet yet powerful message. "Don't ever touch me again." There was no trace of vindictiveness in his tone, only an unwavering insistence on respect and dignity. In that charged silence, the dynamics of Northwood High began to shift. The incident was not a chaotic brawl born of uncontrolled anger. It was a calculated, almost graceful assertion of self-respect. Marcus's measured response had not only neutralized the immediate threat but had also sent a clear message to everyone watching. Strength was not measured by aggression, but by the ability to control one's actions even in the face of provocation. His every movement spoke of years spent mastering both his body and his mind, a testament to the power of discipline and self-control. Word of the confrontation spread like wildfire. By the time the final bell rang, every corridor buzzed with discussions about what had transpired. Students recounted the event in hushed tones, their opinions divided between awe and apprehension. Some admired Marcus for his restraint and skill. Others, loyal to the established order, whispered about the incident as a dangerous disruption to the school's unwritten rules. Meanwhile, Logan sat quietly on the tiled floor, his usual smirk replaced by a look of incredulous shock and wounded pride. His fall from dominance was not just physical, it was a public unraveling of the carefully constructed image he had maintained. The following day brought with it an undercurrent of tension that was impossible to ignore. As Marcus navigated the hallways, he could feel the weight of every gaze. Some students, previously indifferent or even hostile, now offered subtle nods of respect or cautious smiles of acknowledgement. Others maintained a wary distance, as if unsure how to interact with someone who had so decisively upended the social order. Among the shifting crowd, a new figure emerged, a fellow student named Elena Rivers, known for her perceptiveness and straightforward nature. Sitting across from Marcus at lunch, Elena quietly observed him for a moment before speaking up in a tone that balanced both admiration and concern. "You didn't just put Logan in his place," Elena remarked, her eyes locking onto his with an intensity that left no room for misinterpretation. You showed everyone that standing up for yourself isn't about fighting for the sake of it. It's about standing firm with dignity. Her words, measured and sincere, resonated deeply with Marcus. He had always believed that physical prowess should be tempered with wisdom and restraint, and Elena's acknowledgement affirmed that his actions were not only justified but necessary. Despite the newfound respect from many of his peers, the incident also stirred undercurrents of resistance. Logan's allies, who had once rallied around him without question, began to retreat into silence. The balance of power was shifting, and with it, the traditional roles were being redefined. Yet, amid the praise and the palpable change in the school's atmosphere, a darker note emerged. Later that evening, as Marcus attempted to put the day behind him, his phone buzzed with a terse message from an unknown number. "You think you're tough? You got lucky today. Watch your back." The message was delivered without embellishment, a stark reminder that the consequences of challenging the status quo were far from over. That message, rather than instilling fear, ignited a deeper resolve in Marcus. He understood that his actions had irrevocably altered the landscape at Northwood High. The change wasn't confined to a single moment in the cafeteria. It was the beginning of a transformation in how respect was earned and maintained. Instead of retaliating with further aggression, Marcus decided to arm himself with evidence. Over the course of that night, he meticulously gathered screenshots of supportive texts, secured video footage of the incident in its entirety, and collected statements from classmates who had witnessed the confrontation firsthand. Each piece of evidence was a building block, a testament to the truth of what had occurred, a truth that would stand up to any attempt at distortion or retaliation. By the time Monday morning arrived, the narrative at Northwood High was no longer controlled by whispered rumors or subtle jabs. With the backing of solid proof and the support of his peers, including Elena and several other unexpected allies, Marcus stepped into the school with quiet confidence. His evidence was not meant to provoke further conflict, but to ensure that the reality of the incident could not be manipulated by those in positions of privilege. In a world where power was often wielded to silence and intimidate, Marcus's commitment to truth and transparency became a beacon of hope for many who had felt voiceless. Within hours, the administration was forced to confront the situation head-on. The meeting that followed was a turning point, a moment when the authority of the school had to reckon with the facts laid bare by Marcus and his supporters. In that room, where decisions were made that would affect the lives of countless students, the incontrovertible evidence served as a reminder that fairness and justice could not be ignored. Marcus's actions had demonstrated that a measured, principled response could challenge even the most deeply entrenched systems of privilege and fear. Throughout the unfolding events, Northwood High began to see subtle shifts in its daily rhythm. Hallways that once echoed with murmurs of derision now carried tones of cautious optimism. Peers who had once remained passive in the face of bullying started to speak up, inspired by Marcus's courage and unwavering commitment to doing what was right. Even those who had supported Logan's dominance found themselves reconsidering their roles in a system that rewarded cruelty over compassion. Marcus's story, though born out of adversity, was gradually transforming into a powerful lesson in resilience, dignity, and the transformative power of standing up for one's truth. Every interaction, every quiet nod of solidarity, added to a growing momentum within the school. Marcus continued to navigate the complex social terrain with the same calm resolve that had defined him from the very first day. His approach was neither aggressive nor submissive. It was a clear demonstration that one could command respect without resorting to violence, that integrity and self-control were far more potent weapons than anger. His disciplined response had not only diffused a volatile situation, but had also set a new standard for what it meant to face adversity head-on. As the weeks progressed, the lessons learned from that fateful Friday began to echo beyond the walls of Northwood High. Marcus's journey became an unspoken guide for others who had encountered bullying or felt marginalized by a rigid social hierarchy. His story was not one of triumph through conflict, but rather of triumph through measured strength and unwavering commitment to truth. Every day, as he moved through the school with quiet determination, he reminded his peers that respect was earned through consistent, principled actions rather than fleeting moments of aggression. In the midst of these changes, Marcus remained mindful of the responsibilities that came with his newfound reputation. He continued to hone his martial arts skills, not as a means of seeking vengeance, but as a way to maintain the discipline that had defined him since childhood. He also made a conscious effort to reach out to those who felt overlooked or intimidated by the school's established power dynamics. Whether through a simple word of encouragement or by standing up on behalf of someone who couldn't speak for themselves, Marcus's actions resonated with the core belief that every individual deserved to be treated with dignity. Throughout all of these developments, the community at Northwood High began to understand that change often starts with a single act of courage. Marcus's unwavering commitment to handling conflict with grace, rather than anger, slowly chipped away at the foundations of a system built on fear and superiority. The transformation was gradual yet undeniable, a shift in perspective that would, in time, redefine the very nature of respect within those walls. As the day wore on and the routine of school life resumed, every interaction carried a subtle reminder of that defining moment in the cafeteria. Conversations turned to discussions about fairness and the importance of integrity, while quiet acts of kindness and solidarity began to emerge where there had once been only indifference. Marcus's example had opened a door for dialogue, an invitation for every student to consider what true strength really meant. With each passing day, the legacy of that incident became less about a single confrontation and more about the collective willingness to stand against injustice. Marcus's steadfast determination to uphold the truth not only protected his own dignity but also paved the way for others to find the courage to do the same. His journey served as a living testament to the idea that, even in the face of relentless adversity, a calm, principled response could spark a movement, one where the truth shined brightly enough to dispel the shadows of prejudice and fear. Every step Marcus took, every quiet exchange of support, reinforced a powerful lesson: that respect, once earned, has the power to transform a community. And as Northwood High slowly began to realign its values, the echoes of that transformative Friday served as a constant reminder that the strength of one individual can indeed become the catalyst for widespread change. As the final bell rang at Northwood High, a quiet transformation lingered in the air. The corridors, once filled with whispered gossip and cold dismissals, now carried a renewed sense of possibility and understanding. Marcus Grant's resolute stand had not only reclaimed his dignity, it had sparked a change that resonated deeply with his peers. His measured response proved that true strength is found in composure, integrity, and an unwavering commitment to truth. In that singular moment, Marcus showed that when you stand up for yourself with courage and conviction, you inspire others to do the same. Over the coming days, the ripple effect of that defining moment grew steadily. Students who once felt powerless began to share their own stories of perseverance, and a culture of mutual respect slowly replaced the old hierarchy of fear and dominance. The incident served as a powerful reminder that every act of kindness, every show of courage, builds a community where fairness and empathy prevail. Through his actions, Marcus demonstrated that lasting change is not born from anger, but from a quiet, steadfast dedication to doing what is right. Today, we celebrate that spirit, the spirit that teaches us to face challenges with dignity, to transform adversity into opportunity, and to remind each other that respect is earned through integrity. If you found Marcus's story as inspiring as we do, join us in spreading this message of resilience and compassion. Please like, share, and comment with your thoughts on how small acts of courage can create big changes in our communities. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Acts of Kindness Stories New as we work together to reach 10,000 subscribers, proving that a united community built on respect and understanding can make a real difference. Thank you for being a part of this journey, and remember, every act of kindness matters.